So in the first video, we learned how to make a rabbit puppet all by yourself. In this segment, we're gonna look at how to move them or how to puppeteer them. Okay, so now we have this puppet, and making it is one part, but moving it is a whole nother ball game. So I just want to share with you some of the things that I've learned being a puppeteer as well as a puppet maker. And some of the things when you're moving a puppet for the first time and figuring out how to move it, how to make it look good, is to really focus on the head. And you just want to always be looking at the head of a puppet. And think about, where is that puppet looking? What is that puppet looking at? If you can imagine what the puppet is thinking and what the puppet is doing, then it helps the movement. Now with this particular puppet, maybe you just finished making one for yourself, one of these rabbit puppets. Some things I've learned is just to pick up the pencil, and the back legs automatically kind of hop, and then set down the front legs. So you can just pick it up, move it forward, the back legs hit, and then the front legs touch. And that's kind of a little basic hop. It's very simple, it's kind of subtle. You can also go kind of wild with it, but one thing to keep in mind in puppetry is that you may have heard the saying, the hand moves quicker than the eye. Well, it's true in puppetry that your hand can move very fast, and it's very hard to see what's going on with this puppet. So whenever you're doing a puppet, you always might want to tell yourself, slow down just a little bit, so that your audience can really see what you're doing. Even if you're doing a fast movement, to do it in slow motion is kind of a nice way for other people to be able to see what you're doing. If you're always looking at your puppet, then your audience will be looking at your puppet too. If you're looking out at your audience and moving the puppet around, oh my, then it's really hard to pay attention to what the puppet's doing, because people want to engage with you. So keep your eyes on the puppet and move it around slowly. You can use both hands. It's okay to hold a puppet. One special thing about this puppet is you can kind of reach in and make a leg move a little bit. You can just So there are really very few rules in puppetry. It's kind of what you decide it to be. You don't have to be hidden. You don't have to use voices if you don't want to. It's whatever you want it to be. But one thing I love about puppetry is that it lets you imagine being different things. So you can imagine being this little bunny rabbit. You can imagine hopping around. And just by moving it with your hands helps you imagine with your mind what's going on. If you have many puppets, which if you're doing your whole show by yourself, you'll usually have more than one puppet on the stage at a time. So if you have 2 puppets on the stage, one in each hand, sometimes it's helpful to take turns. You have the puppets interact with each other. And then you can make the puppets dance if there's fun music. But I think probably the biggest tip is just to let your focus be with one puppet at a time and kind of take turns. And that helps. Makes it easier on you and also makes it easier for the audience to see what you're doing. If a puppet is not a central part of the scene, if something is happening over here, but this puppet over here is still on stage, then just trying to keep that puppet still with your hand still on it. And then when you want it to be part of the scene, then you can look back at it. And then you can let it come and be part of the scene. And that's how you do multiple puppets at once.